So CoVersity is a space, a dedicated space for the youth who are between 14 to 21, where they explore and deep dive into their interests, discover their passions along with a cohort, and they do so by doing industry-specific work, and in the process discover what could be their profession. So today we are specifically going to go deep into this aspect of cohort. So, okay, so let's start, guys. Ratnesh,
We are
maybe you
already a
can
cohort. Three of us are here together.
absolutely. So let's start. What is a cohort for you? Maybe some aspect of cohort that's like a big highlight for you.
Okay, for me, I'll go first. I'll not let Srijani go first. I'll go first. For me, it's a big relief. I am alone, not alone. There are so many people with me. That is the biggest part of being a social animal. I'm so always excited to be with people. Yeah, Srijani, your call.
Yeah. Well, some part I really love about being in a cohort is that you have someone like a companion and also like a mentor. Like it's like a two-in-one thing. Like you get to have a lot of fun and also you get to kind of do some real like the
Yeah, yeah. Hmm. So somewhere, I think the big relief for all of us is there are some people like, even though it may, like, it's not always you're with a group, but whenever there are those points that you need, that certain push or certain support, there are people to be around with. Hmm. All right. So, looking at the aspect of, let's say, how does a cohort, you know, let's look at the first aspect being the professional. Like if I'm going to chart my professional journey along with a cohort, how does it really uh, help me in my professional journey? So one thing that I can think of is, hey, when I'm with a group of people who are also passionate and trying to find their, professions, I'm getting exposed to their perspectives also. So I'm not isolated, sitting somewhere and trying to figure things by myself. I'm getting exposed to multiple domains. I'm getting ideas, resources, networks, contacts. So all that is multiplied in a cohort. So Ratnesh, any
Yeah.
other aspect?
So, yes. When we are together, we actually work together.
Mm,
It automatically expands into a kind of a collaborative space where we are doing. Meaning I've now worked with so many children over the last almost 20 years, and the moment there is a gang together, I'm calling it a gang. A cohort is like a gang together. There is so much of collaboration. There is so much of doing things together where ideas flow, and yeah, people just do together. I mean, doing together anything, even a biggest task starts looking smaller, or rather easier, and obviously as fun as Srijani was mentioning.
hmm. Srijani, you want to add to that aspect of, how do you think it helps you if you're part of a cohort? Uh, I'm sure you worked with, people and done projects, so maybe you can share some aspect of that experience.
yeah, that it's so beautiful that you come together and you start working and somehow somewhere or the other you just kind of are together, that you kind of motivate each other and also you kind of mentor each other, you give feedback. It's like you get like a free mentor kind of thing, like we co-facilitate each other. Yeah, it's like you are you're with them and they help you, they support you, you can support them. It's like a to and fro which happens. It's amazing, to be honest.
Mm,
In
And
the,
absolutely. Yeah,
Go ahead,
Ratnesh.
Srijani. No, let Srijani go ahead.
and also us both being in the same level, it's much fun and also much understandable when we speak, as we are in like in the same ground, I feel.
Yeah, what I have seen very interestingly when these youth, especially youth, when they are collaborating together, one is obviously they are working together, supporting each other. But as you mentioned, Kirtika, they bring in different perspectives, different aspects of the same thing, which probably we haven't thought of it before. A lot of times, what I hear is, and not just here, seed transforming is ideas. Oh, we can do it this way, we can try it this way, we can make a business out of it, we can do this out of it, and it actually multiplies. Not just in terms of the doing, but more in terms of the way we look at our own learning, our own life, our own working. So I think that's the energy I have enjoyed, if you want to call it, over the last 20 years, having children all around me.
Yeah, true, true. Just adding to what you said, Ratnesh, that uh, the very fact that you are working with people who are uh, kind of interested in some other domains is kind of because life doesn't happen in isolation, right? It's not just you
Mm.
are just going to be, or even when you go in a professional world, you are going to be connected and working in teams along with people who are across the spectrum of domains. So getting that exposure early on, and learning how to be in a team, how to kind of express yourself, how to agree to disagree. It's not always going to be a smooth ride. So all those
Definitely.
things are playing in, those dynamics come into play. So
True.
uh, yeah, yeah.
Srijini, you want to share about how co-creation happened when you were part of the boot
So I
camp with other
was
CoVersity
about to
members?
share that. Yeah. So in one of the boot camps, we actually plan to make a small. We plan to make few products which were jewelry. We made few earrings and bracelets, and we wanted to sell them in a village nearby and a school nearby. So yeah, it was actually so fun. And also, as Ratnesh mentioned, we have different perspectives and different skills of people, different like different people from different worlds, to be frank. So it's like we came together. It was fun for sure. We were like cracking jokes on each other and all. And then we slowly started getting into the work. Different ideas pop up. We seriously started off with making some like a 4, 5, 6 huge jewelries to be narrowed down to making just two, which were earrings and bracelets. So it went on like that. We evolved so much together. We, as Kirtika also mentioned, we disagreed sometimes. We argued at each other, and it's like it also like we also started to divide work among us, and we learned from each other. Like few of us were kind of interested in learning or doing the material, and few were interested in selling them and all. But we were doing together, but few were we were co-facilitating each other, like maybe if we can do it that way, it would be much better than that and all.
Mm.
So yeah, it was nice. It was actually a
Yeah,
great experience.
and while these guys were doing it from little far, what I was observing was this whole planning together, right? This whole creating it together. So we could have planned, prepared, and handed over to these guys that do this, but we did not say anything. We did not even tell them what to do, and that is where the beauty of the cohort happened, where it was a sudden project. In 4 days they have to think of a project and execute it also. Yeah, and that has to be with the world, not inside the campus. So I was amazed the way they kind of um, as I said, from the far, I was not hearing what they were doing. I was not hearing what their discussions were, but I could see how it is evolving on its own, just because they are co-creating it all together, including what time we will work on, how will we work on, how much we will work, what quality we will come to, and so on and so on. Everything kind of got just created. So I think that's really beautiful. In that sense, I was completely jobless, and I really enjoy being that.
We made it favor.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm also thinking like, I could kind of observe and be with these guys closely during the boot camp. So somewhere, even the whole reflection bit, like they're assessing, oh, we are going slow now. We really need to, buck up and pull our socks and get things in place. So all that was happening between themselves. So
Mm.
I'm also thinking in a way like, if you're by yourself, some days you have those highs and those lows when you're down and you're not like, in the mood, and that can prolong. But when you're with a cohort, you have these buddies to kind of pull you up and like, hey, what are you up to? Like, are you up to the plan that you have set out for? Of course, there are times when you need breaks. All those things are there. But to have a support system which is kind of pushing you, pulling you, and making sure that you are on the path that you have set out for, I think that's a very hidden and unsaid benefit, right? Like it's almost to the point that we take it for granted, but it's so essential to have someone, help us and be there for us to ensure that, we are on the way, especially when we are low and we are, not feeling like, so that support is very essential, I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times people ask me that, hey, in Aarohi, how many facilitators are there? And every time, obviously, I like big smile comes inside me because I know that everybody who is here is a facilitator to everybody else. And this becomes even more intense in an environment like CoVersity, where they're all between 14 to 21 years, so they relate to each other very well. They're on similar professional journeys, so they're able to actually facilitate, give very honest, upfront, straightforward feedback, push, pull each other, question each other. Hey, you said you will do this. Where is it, man? And so on and so forth. Meaning this, it's fairly intense. And again, every time I just remind myself, oh, how jobless I am. Because some people think that I'm the facilitator, but believe me, I do very little. Once in a while, here, there, we will sprinkle our so-called wisdom, but but the real wisdom, I think, comes from each other, because when the coversity buddies are together in the cohort, they are able to kind of see, track each other, and hence able to facilitate each other. They could be facilitating with a resource or a suggestion of a tool or a method or a process, or they could be just facilitating in terms of giving them a nice kick, right? So that they kicking each other so that they get going in terms of what they promised, because we all kind of kind of little toned down. So I think I would say, in my mind, that is like a big one, the whole idea of that nobody else is really going to facilitate you, rather we are all together and we will kind of co-facilitate because we are co-passengers.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm.
I could see this whole journey of mine running in my head.
Right, right. Hmm. So somewhere when okay, from whatever we've all discussed, somewhere I'm thinking, one important thing that Srijani kind of, very subtly mentioned, you are actually getting a mentor also. Like we never look at our peers or our buddies as mentors, but that's a very, striking point that even your buddies or your peers are also a mentor in a way. So even the way we look at mentors kind of shifts when we are in a cohort. You have so many mentors suddenly because each one of them is an expert in some way or the other in their domain. So
Definitely.
that also brings in that aspect. Yeah, yeah. So somewhere we've talked of all the heavy stuff, the professional aspect and the co-facilitation. They're there to kind of push you in the direction of your professional journey. Let's maybe take some time to talk about the fun aspect. Come
Yeah.
on, it's not always
Before
going
that,
to
I
be.
have one point before we shift from that. One of the things I've noticed is that when collaboration happens between people with different interest, I'm not talking about the same interest, or even within similar domain, even if they're in the same domain, but they have slightly different. Let's say in a cricket, somebody has an interest on batting and somebody has an interest in bowling, but in a more wider sense. In a project, let's say somebody is interested in music and somebody is interested in writing, but because they bring very different skills, very different skills, just that rubbing off of each other's way of using one's skills is so amazing. It's like in education we call it collateral learning, where I don't have a particular skill, I'm not even interested in that particular skill, but because I am with somebody who has that skill and I'm kind of working with him or her, that rub off happens. Yeah, and it's like if I were to do cooking with Srijani, I'm sure, although I'm not into cooking, so many of her cooking, baking skills will kind of, the way she does something, or and the way she thinks about a dish or trying to innovate will rub off on me. So I think this whole collateral learning which happens because different people have different set of skills, in fact even totally different domains. I think that makes this collaborative learning so much more richer than so much more richer. Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah, and just like I'm just thinking, like, and because it's with people of the same age and kind of in the same mind space, it's not like it's coming from a pedestal or you're learning from someone. Of course, that has its benefits, but just be with each other and kind of learn organically in the flow. That is also quite enriching in a way. So yes, absolutely. The more, the merrier, and so many perspectives, so many diverse domains, and exposure to all those things are definitely enriching the professional journey. Now let's look at the fun side of it. Like it's not always fun. I mean, it's not always work. Srijani, you would want to highlight this aspect. Like, tell us about all the fun you guys have.
Okay. Yeah, like being with them is itself fun, even though I'm working, even though I'm dancing or doing anything. It's very fun being with the people, mainly the peers, and being together. But the main thing I really loved about is that the connections we make together. It's very nice that, of course, not everyone, like not I'll have a great connections with everyone, but some way or the other I do have connection with everyone at different levels. So it's so beautiful. It adds much what can I say, a manure to me or something. Yeah, that's one of the best part. And also you get a lot of emotional support from them, that you like it doesn't have to be like something you're having some like they're directly giving you support, but it's like, hey, how have you been? Just that small question can relieve me from whatever I'm stressed out, or my happiness can kind of flood out with my thoughts and all. So it's so fun and nice to have them. I feel it's a really big support. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to add this, that at Aarohi we have this concept of buddy counselor, or we actually don't even call it buddy counselor, we just call it counselor. So anyone amongst the children can be a counselor for anybody else. Right? So even at a slightly more serious emotional help, sometimes because I'm getting somebody who is of my own journey, own thinking, kind of, it's the counseling happens at a more you can say connected level. And I've seen a lot of children, they kind of grow emotionally more sound just because they have another child who is supporting them, rather than we adults, oldies coming from we know all about emotions kind of thing. So this point of emotional togetherness, I would call it, is so amazing. And yeah, and at the same time, buddies can put down each other also. So we are not trying to say that everything is always beautiful, but that's exactly the point. Because they can put down, because they can have conflicts, they also have others who can understand, support, and kind of pull them through. I'm reminded of my daughter Asavri when she was around 17, 18. She had gone through certain things and she was like really, really down. And, she came to us crying and, we had that our regular consoling her. But what really worked was in the night, she had a call with her buddies, 4, 5 of them. And then they had, I don't know how long they were talking into the night, but next day morning she was saying, I'm fine. Now, I think that, so I realized, yes, I can play a fatherly role, but that has its own, reaching limitations. So much better counselors are they among themselves and much better learning. Yeah, that's my experience.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
can
and I,
really relate. They can really relate us much better as we're going in the
Mhm.
same professional journey. They can really relate to us better.
yeah. And we've also seen like many a times like the youth, they also have certain inhibitions to, kind of reach out to adults or because they're going through,
Mm.
that's a phase, they're going through the whole hormonal changes and, transitioning into an adult. So all that is happening. So, reaching out to an adult, the fear of being judged, I think all that is kind of less when, they are amongst themselves. So that comfort level is there to kind of open up and express and kind of share their views. So that we've seen happen.
True, true.
Okay. Yeah. And besides the whole at CoVersity and besides all the professional activities that they can work together on, they are also kind of engaging in other, as they call, co-curricular activities, like let's say going on a trek or just having a dance show for themselves. Srijani, you want to add in a bit of that?
Yes,
I
yes,
can
for
see that.
sure. Yeah. Last time in the boot camp also we made a drama. Like I am sure that it wasn't that great, but the fun we had was so good that we were bursting out laughing and all. And yeah, it was fun learning from each other, different steps and all. We kind of did a drama dance kind of thing. It was so good. We could see all those co-learning, co-creation, co-facilitating, and all of that stuff in a really fun way, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one incident where, one of the boot camp participants, she was really low in terms of, not able to figure out or not able to, all those things were happening at the professional or the work side of it. But, once they came into and had some dance or something, there's such a sigh of relief. She's like, when I do this with these people, it's like, I'm like charged up, literally
Yeah.
those were her words. So, that really boosts you up and, kind of gives you that much needed rejuvenation that you need to go back, with all your energy towards your passion.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. In fact, whenever I think about my own, earlier youth days, meaning I'm still young, but youth days, the thing I really cherish is this whole gangs or the friends group. And one of the key things I cherish from there is a whole lot of discussions, a lot of, I like to call them as intellectual discussions on all kinds of topics. Deep into the night, we are, discussing, debating, arguing on so many different topics of direct interest to me, of indirect interest to me, of no interest to me. But I think all that mental stimulation that was there because so many people were so intensely talking about so many different things, I think that really helped my growth, my mind growth, if I can call it. It's not the content that mattered, but it's all the intense discussion. You can't just say something and walk off. Somebody is gonna counter it and challenge you and push you so that you have to think and you have to understand what they are saying and all of that. So while we hear of these formal debating and a formal this helping, but I would say this on informal, which happens over the cup of chai or whatever, or late night. We used to have bread butter in those days. Late night bread. So the bread butter and all those discussions became the bread and butter of my development. So I think that is something I really value, and I would I would say that they should be not they should be, but that is where a lot of time can be valued. That, oh, this is happening. Everything should need not be work. A lot of this kind of fun, meaning apart from the dancing fun, apart from the trekking fun,
Yeah.
a lot of intellectual thinking fun, uh, which also prepares oneself as one goes ahead and has more, maybe in the professional life, more meetings, more discussions and brainstorming and so on and so forth. So I think that was a wonderful gift for me in my youth, and which I'm kind of using all this while.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And somewhere because of those, and because those discussions are not like formal discussions, they are just in the moment because you're all together. They are also,
Hmm.
pushing your boundaries of thought. So you are reassessing what are your belief systems or what are the images you have about yourself. All that mishmash of, complex thinking is happening, but in a very
Hmm.
natural and in a very organic way, because it's not
Yeah.
defined to be a debate or argument. It's just in the moment of you all being together, of all of us being together.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yes, absolutely, it pushes you to think beyond whatever you've known. So
Yeah. Yeah, even we in the boot camp used to chat over lunch or dinner. We used to start off by talking about some movie and end up talking about why do people even gossip or something like that. So the conversations goes on, and we never know where it ends.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
right, right.
Uh,
Hmm.
which is why we call it coversity. It's about coming together and claiming our universe.
For sure.
That's got a nice ring to it. Claiming our universe. I like it.
Yeah, yeah, because each one has a different universe. The singer has singing as his universe, and Srijani has cooking as her universe, or whatever. Absolutely.
Sure. Yeah. Any, I think we are close to the end of the conversation. So any last thoughts that we want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I want to say this, that yes, people of at least for me, when parents talk to me, when you talk, especially parents talk to me, they are more interested in who will be the mentors, who will be the guides. And yes, we are there as guides, as mentors, and there are many more members in community, and we'll talk about that more later. But I want you to first value the whole coming together. That is the real, that is the real energy. That is why, again, I'm reinforcing, that is why we have named it as coversity. It's about being together, and it's the big, not the big deal, it's the biggest deal.
Yeah. Srijani, any thoughts from you?
Nothing. I was just imagining who will be my cohort members.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just reminded of, we keep having these people from the last year's batch, and, where they come talk to people. And time and again, I've seen that, all of them mention that the cohort of them being at the campus, the time they spend together, that is the one thing that they keep harping about. So definitely we can see that, that is something that they value the most. So cohort is indeed like the biggest deal at CoVersity, and we have seen how it impacts and how it kind of enriches their journeys. So with that, we'll pause the conversation for today. But as Ratnesh said, we will keep coming back with more live sessions on what are the support systems at CoVersity. How does why does it really how does it really help you in your professional and personal journey, how these support systems come into play, and what's the deal at CoVersity. So do keep watching these live and give us feedback, give us any topics that you would want us to go deeper into, and we'll take that up. with having said that, we'll pause this conversation and we'll see you next in the next live.
Yeah.
Super.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.